Hey everybody, welcome to Fab Fit Friday. I'm here, my computer is working, and I'm sorry about last week. The reason why my computer was not working last week is operational error. I put something on my desktop I shouldn't have, and then what happened was it ended up making my computer freak out. So I apologize for that. Let me just say hi to Barbara and Patrick and Tana and Polly. Hello, hello. Oh, Polly hasn't been able to come for the last few sessions, so happy you're here today. Well, I'm happy you're here too, Polly. And last week you didn't miss anything because my computer wouldn't turn on. So, so last week everybody had a break from me, including me. All right, so I have a lot of things I want to talk about today. The first thing is I want to show you, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show you my, let's see if I can show you my sleeve. All right, so this is the sleeve I drafted a few weeks ago. And then this is my cover. And the cover is fitting me very similarly to my ditto form. I am so excited. Same pattern. So basically what I did was I created a cover. I created this from the pattern pieces on the cover I showed you a few weeks ago. One of the things I did, and I'm just going to zero in right here for you, is I moved this seam in a little bit because it was too wide, and I think it was creating more of a wide look to have the vertical seams out a little bit farther. So this is how it fits. I'm excited. I mean, it fits me like a glove pretty much. Okay, and I'm cold, so now that I've showed you how it fits, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put my long sleeve shirt back on because I'm cold in this room. So let me just say hi to Victoria. Hi from Virginia. Hey, Mary. Oh, I'm sorry. Virginia is vacationing in North Carolina. Happy vacation. And Mary, did you see my muslin in my sleeve? Let me just show one more time. All right, so see, that's the sleeve I drafted last week, or a few weeks ago, and I'm pretty happy with it. I might want to play with it a little bit, but I'm fairly happy with it. The first thing I want to design with this doesn't have sleeves, so I have time to pop the other sleeve on and just double check that I like the way the sleeve is. So like I said, I'm going to just tip my camera up so you can just see my head. And I'm going to take this off. Now the one thing is, when I made this cover or muslin for me, I used an invisible zipper, and the invisible zipper, obviously it's not a separating invisible zipper, so I have to shimmy it over my hips or pull it over my head, or pull it down from below, and it's still kind of attached, so that is a little bit annoying. Let me just put this on. Oh, Mary says it fits perfect. Thank you, Mary. I'm very happy with the way it fits, but of course all the fitting was done on Dottie, right? So the big thing is Dottie and me are very, very similar. And that's what I'm excited about. Oh yes, I'm going to get to that dress, Mary. So I want to make an Easter dress this year. Oh, let me just stop and say hi to Claire. Hi, Claire. Welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm just going to put this aside for now, my cover. And before I get into the dress, I just want to show you some things here. I'm going to switch my view to my table shot. And let me make it a little less bright here. There we go. All right, I've already traced the bodice portion of these pieces. Okay, so you can see that I've traced a copy of each, and I'm going to take the tracings and I'm going to put them aside because the tracings are what I'm going to use to make something. So let me just separate them. What I want to do is show you what I did to make this muslin fit me. If you remember, when I made the first cover and I draped, you know, this side of me, my left side, then I made a full cover, and I noticed that the armhole, okay, on the opposite side that I didn't drape was not laying right along my arm because I had a more prominent shoulder blade on one side. And that was very exciting for me to see that my ditto form captured that. The muslin fit my body the same way. It kind of ruffled in the back of the opposite armhole. So what I want to do is show you what I did to make room. And remember, I didn't want to have to make a separate left and a separate right. I didn't want to do that. So here's what I did. Oh, Tana says, great job on fit. You might have saleable skills. Yes, well, my saleable skills are the fact that I teach fitting classes, I hope. I think I know what I'm doing. I am not going to sew for people, though. All right, so let me just show you here. Hey, Carla, welcome. All right, let's switch to the table view here. And what I want to show you is, let me just zoom in a little bit here. Let's look at the back, because that's what I adjusted. Now, I do have a tutorial that shows how to actually create a shoulder dart and then a prominent shoulder blade adjustment. But this is a princess seam back, okay? And I didn't put a seam in the back of this, so you can see it's all one piece. This is where the empire waist or under the bust seam is in the front. So I wanted to carry that through to the back. I'm only traced the top half of the pieces to work with to make the first thing I want to try to make. But what I want to show you here is, look what I ended up with for shapes. And basically, you can see how this wings out now? Okay, that's for like my broad back and my shoulder blade, because what I did was, let me just draw it in red so you can see it. I created a pivot here, and I spread this right here. So I'm just going to make it red so you can see. I spread this to make room. Oh, I might as well color it in for you so you can see. So that's where I spread the center back from the tip of the neckline to here. And then I made a pivot over here and a pivot over here. And I basically spread them an amount that equaled what I spread it at center, on the center back piece. So this is what I have here. Okay, so basically that's where I slashed and spread. These are my pivots. I walked the pattern. I made sure it's still fit, and I got to open these up a little bit more than this because this curved line was longer than this curved line. And then here's another thing. When you put this together, you can see it creates a shoulder dart now. So see, there's like this much of a shoulder dart right there. And so that's how I got it to fit my prominent shoulder blade. And then when I transferred it to both sides, it fits me on both sides. So I didn't have to create a left and a right. I can just use this to accommodate the wider or the curvier side of my back. And the other side, it works. Okay, so that I wanted to point that out to you, because sometimes if you have subtle asymmetrical differences between left and right, if you adjust for the larger size or, you know, the curvier side, sometimes the other side will also accept the shape, or that shape will fit it well enough that it's not noticeable. Okay, so that's how I ended up fitting this. And that was really the only thing I needed to do that was different from left to right for my body on my ditto form. So I'm going to work with, this is going to be my master back pattern. Oh, excuse me. This is going to be my master back. Okay. And then here are my front pieces again. I did not trace the lower pieces. I'm going to need this shape here. This is the center front, and you can see that my center front does peek up a little bit like this, see? Okay, so I will need this shape when I go to make my my garment, I think, or I might straighten it out. We'll see. So basically now I'm going to put away my original pieces, and I want to talk about the dress that I have sitting behind me on my ditto form. Now remember, my ditto form matches my shape, right? So I put this dress on my ditto form. Okay, I bought this dress at Ann Taylor many years ago now, before the pandemic. It kind of fit, but it was in their sales rack, and it's made of like a linen, like, I bet it's a, let me see if I can find the tag. Just want to see if it's what the thing says it is. Oh yeah, it is. It's 100% linen. So this is nice fabric, and it's a maxi dress. It goes all the way to the floor. And actually the hem has this border print. Let me just show you that. Let me just hike this up here so I can show you. So see, there's a border print around the bottom. So I thought what I might try to do with this dress is cut it apart and make a dress that actually fits me. Because while this dress did zip up, you can see if I pin it closed again. I bought this dress. When I bought this dress, I did not weigh as much as I weigh now, but you can see I've got a pretty good sized gap here, and it does not fit me. It does not fit my ditto form. It's not going to fit me. And then also, in reality, this wrap front, which I love a wrap front dress, it was too low for me. It showed too much cleavage, and it didn't lay right. Like, it gapped away from me, and it was just weird. So you can see that really these cups need to be down here. That was part of the problem. So there's like a, I want to say 3/4 inch band right here. If I press that against my form, that's what I think the problem was with it fitting my body. It wasn't long enough to really hit me in a good spot here, and it was just a little bit funky. I mean, it is laying okay on Dottie, but remember, it's not zipped up, and I have it squished on here. So I'm going to use the information from how this dress is fitting Dottie to make some adjustments and make a wrap front dress for myself. I do, however, need to not have crisscross back straps, because I need to wear my sports bra, and there's no way I can wear my sports bra and have a crisscross back and have it not show. So I'm going to make straight straps in the back. And I may be able to even use these straps. These are really nice. They have piping on them. So I'm going to be taking apart this dress, and I'm going to use the fabric to make a dress for me. And I'm hoping there's enough fabric to make it like just below the knee length on me, because it goes to the floor right now. So I'm hoping I can use the extra fabric from the fact that this is a maxi dress, make it up just below the knee, and then make it fit me, and do some changes with the straps, and also make this higher. Let me just stop and say hi to RT Blades 4. Hello from Nashville. Oh, speaking of Nashville, if you guys didn't know, or I don't know, I haven't talked about it that much, but I am doing a 3-day pants fitting workshop in Nashville on the first weekend in August, August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and there's only 3 spaces left. So if anybody's interested in joining me in Nashville, first week in August, it's going to be a really fun one. I have one of my students from last year actually is helping me plan it. So I feel like I have someone on the ground in Nashville helping me. So there you are. Hey, Janie. Nice to see you. I hope you guys are okay. I hope everybody who was in the path of that storm the past, week is okay and not flooded. The weather was really crazy to watch here. So I hope everybody's okay. All right, so Janie's here. Oh, RT Blade says that sounds great. Woo! Well, if you're interested, don't wait, because like I said, there are only 3 spaces left, and I really haven't been advertising it that much. I basically put it in my newsletter and talked about it a couple times. So so that's exciting. I don't know if I put a link. There might be a link for it in the description of this video, but if not, if you go to my upcoming workshops on my website, it's over there. Oh, Mary was in my March pants fitting workshop that I just finished this past, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And she says it was a wonderful experience and you will not regret it, or you will not regret going. So there you go. And if you live in Nashville, that's a bonus. Like if you live close, we did have one student who came in March and she lived in Connecticut and she just drove back and forth every day. She didn't have to pay for the hotel. So it was nice that it was local for one of my students. Carla says, I'm here, actually been here for a while. Carla, where have you been here? You mean in our live? Or do you mean you've been here in Connecticut? Is that what you mean? Let me know. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I've got my pieces traced, and what I'm going to do, let me switch my thing. And actually, this is kind of cool because I can take this and make it a little bit bigger so you can see. I want you to be able to see. Let me put it over here. I'm going to take me out of the picture because I just want to show you what I'm going to do here. And I want you to see here as well. So basically, I'm going to get out my pieces that I traced. So here's my center front, and here is my side front. Okay. I mean, look at that dart. I mean, that dart is gigantic. And that's why, if you have a G cup and you're doing a princess seam, it really, it really creates a big dart here. This is all dart to fit this onto me, see? So I'm going to, for now, just put it like this. And there are seam allowances here, so I'm just going to eyeball it, overlap it an inch. And actually, hold on one second. Oh! Oops. Oh my goodness, my dogs are on the floor and they knocked over my muslin, which almost knocked over my dress form. Let me move this out of the way. I'm having a little bit of a thing going on over here with all my stuff. Hold on. Okay. All right, that was almost a tragedy. All right, so what I wanted to do is get this, because I think you'll be able to see better if I have some gray under there. So let me just put this up here. There, this will be easier to see. Okay. All right, so what I want to show you is I am gonna, and actually I don't have to guess, I'm just gonna run my seam allowance a 1/2 inch here, like this, and I'll just use my, hold on one second. Okay, here, just give me a thin marker here. I'm going to just mark my seam allowance right here. And then I'm going to mark my seam allowance right here. And this way I can overlap it an accurate amount. I mean, just to get me put together kind of correctly. So let me just sort of put these together like this. All right, so now I know what my real estate is in terms of, this is my front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the base of my neck. So right here at a 1/2 inch down, oops, let me just make a 1/2 inch down right here. Okay, so this little dash that I drew, Oh, you've been on this site and you would love to visit me. Oh, come and visit me, Carla. We have a lot of fun in my in-person classes. I feel like everybody leaves as friends. You know, so we do a lot of socializing at dinners, and we really have a good time in my in-person classes. I will say that they are my favorite. Okay. All right, so this right here represents this up here. So I'm pointing to my ditto form now. You can see, let me just, I think it'd be better if I put it over here. Well, yeah, I got to keep it over here because I don't want to take up that much room. But basically, see right here, that's this. So I can measure on here how far down I want my, how far down I would want the center of my bodice to be. And I really think I want to lift it up like 2 inches and put it here. So like if I do a quick measurement like this, you know, I can verify that maybe 2 1/4, you know what, I'm going to go up 2.5 inches actually from here up to here. And I forgot about one little thing here. I need to have another copy of this because we're making a wrap dress. So here's what we're going to do. If you've got a piece that goes past center, it goes all the way to here, then I need to have it be, I need a full front, center front piece. So to make it easy for myself, I am just going to take this paper, fold it in half like this, and then I'm going to line this up on the fold like this. Move these out of the way like this, and then I can cut it out and I'll have a full front. So that's bad. I thought I was so organized for this live. I forgot about this one little thing. So see what I'm going to do here is and also I need to get rid of the seam allowance here. So this is my seam allowance right here. So I'm going to line that up with the fold because there's not going to be, obviously, we don't want the seam allowance. All right, so now if I put some sew tights on here like this, now I can simply and quickly cut this out and I will have a full center front piece. This will only take me a second. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right. So now I don't need this. What I do need is this. Okay, so I think everybody can understand why I needed to trace a full copy. Oh no, I don't want a center front fold. I just wanted to make a full center front piece and I got rid of the seam allowance. So I cut it on the fold so I could just open it up. It's going to be a flat piece, you'll see in a minute. All right, so let me just bring this down a little so it's a little closer like this. Okay, so again, right here is this is the base of my neck right here. Okay, and then over here I still have my seam allowance here. Okay, so I'm just going to put this back now with this just so I have it, you know, lined up. So I'm just going to put this here. And I think, well, actually, let me move it up higher. Okay. All right, so you can see now what I have is my side front, my center front. This is going to be flat. All right, and what I want to do is I'm going to use this here. Remember I said I wanted to raise it 2.5 inches. So I want to raise it to this little pin right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down to that pin. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 inches. So I'm going to measure down 5.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5, like this. And I'm going to make myself a little dot right here. All right, so that's where I want the center front to crisscross at that level. Okay, so it's 5.5 inches from the base of my neck, 5.5 inches from the base of my neck. So I'm using my ditto form to help me create the shape that I want here. And because this is me, I don't have to measure myself. So that's why I love the fact that I have this. So now the next thing I want to decide is, what is the shape of this going to be? If we turn it to the side, you can see that the armhole comes up to a certain point, and then it breaks, you know, then that's the side of the bodice is the armhole, and then it comes down like this. Now currently, my armhole on my bodice, and actually I don't think I need that anymore so much. Let me just make me smaller again. Okay, so currently that armhole is right up, you know, where you would sew a sleeve on, and you can see this armhole is down and away a little bit. You know, it kind of breaks away from where, this is where my armhole would be right here, right? That tape. So you can see there's a little bit of a difference between where that is and, you know, where the armhole is. Right now, this edge is my armhole. That's right where it would sit. So I'm going to have to decide about how far in I want to come. And I think if I drop it an inch, and I'm going to go ahead. So let me just work with that piece first. I'm going to move this piece out of the way for right now. Let's get this right in here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to measure. It's almost like I can do a split screen here if I make this a little bit bigger. And then I'll just slide this over here. That way you can see both of everything I'm doing here. It's like a little split screen. Oh, Patrick is asking, it's hard to tell on my screen, but is the bodice above the empire line? Is it gathered? Yes, there is gathers in here. There is, and I'm going to deal with that in a minute as well. You know, I can put some gathers in there to give it a little bit of, you know, ease. So yes, good eye, Patrick. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just measure from my side seam. I'm going to say 2 inches. So I'm going to measure 2 inches here, 1, 2, and I'm going to make a line like this. Then I'm going to measure 1, 2, and then I would say between 3 and 4 inches. So I'm going to go 2 more inches. Okay, that's the part I want to make sure I get it right. So here and here. All right, so I've measured 2 inches and 2 inches here. Okay, and that's going to correspond with this. So I'm going to drop down an inch here. Now the seam allowance is still in this pattern piece. I'm going to leave it there for now and see what happens. I mean, you know, I'm removing an inch, but the seam allowance is in there. And when I get to 4 inches, I want it to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. It's approximately 2 inches away. So by the time I get over here, I want it to be approximately 2 inches away. I mean, that's what it's doing. I'm going to do 1.5. That seems like a lot to me, for me. I don't know. We'll see. But see, so basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shape this like this. Okay, so you can see that's giving me the shape that's right here, right? And then this whole edge currently is do it the right way, like this one. I don't like this ruler. Let me use my blue one. Okay, this is better. I can see the numbers better. All right, so this is 6.5 inches to the piping right there. Okay, so if I go ahead and now measure 6.5 inches, I'm going to be about here, about right here, okay? But I want it to be a little higher, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and add, like, I don't know, a 1/2 inch more. And I'm just going to continue this up like this. So that's going to be the shape of where the side of my, you know, around the armhole of my strapless dress is going to go to there. Then I have to decide, am I going to have separate straps? Like, am I going to end it here? Like, see, this ends here, and then this actually is all one piece. This right here goes all the way up. I don't necessarily care about that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to I don't know. I think to make it simple, I am going to just have it be a strap like this. So it's going to be all one piece. So my strap is going to be this wide from here to here. You know, and I can decide later if I want to do a separate strap. This is a 1 1/4 inch wide strap here. And I'm going to have to verify that my bra will cover that. I mean, this will cover my sports bra shape. But basically now I've got this part designed right here. So now I'm going to bring back this in like this. Okay. And so what that means is I'm not going to need all of the, oops, let me make it some, okay. I'm not going to need, or I could have it be wider too. If I stop it at that seam allowance, that will be 1 1/4 inches. Maybe I'll have it come out a little bit more. Let me make it a little bit wider because I know I have wide straps for my sports bra. So let's make this, let's make it a full 1.5 inches. So that means I would need just this little bit, and I think I'm going to connect them. I'm not going to have it be a separate piece, but basically this is going to be my strap here. Okay, and remember, I want it to come over to, oops. I want it to come over to here, right? So the next thing is I have to make the shape I want for the opening. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make, and I think I'm just going to go right from the seam allowance. Let me just draw my seam allowance in here, 1/2 inch. Okay, there's my 1/2 inch seam allowance there. Okay, and I guess I can get rid of this now. And I'm just going to make a straight line from here to here. Because I do want it to be a V, right? And then I'm going to keep it, actually I'm going to keep it going all the way to here. And you can see if I keep going, it actually will hit, it actually will end up being onto here, but I'm not going to have it be that wide. Beth is saying the $1 million statement, if you have more pronounced shoulder blades on one side, adjust that side and the other side will follow. Perfect. I've always wondered about this. I'll go back and look at your video again for the prominent shoulder blade. I mean, Beth, that does work if it's not a super significant amount. Like if you try it and see if you can get away with it. It may be that you can't, but you know, try it. All right, so maybe what I'll do, oh, I don't, all right, so I know that, I don't want that side of the bodice to come out that far because I know that the seam is already sitting outside my apex a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that it ends here. So I'm going to have to fudginate it a little bit. I want it to end here. So this is a seam allowance right here. Hold on. There's my seam allowance there. And here's my seam allowance here. Okay, so I do want it to end before I get off to the side front piece on this side, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to change that a little bit. I might have to have it be a little bit deeper. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to make this my line. So this is now not my line. Okay, sorry, now I'm getting messy. But basically, I want it to end on this piece. I don't want to have to involve the other side over here. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to change colors now. So let me use a, I don't know, how about a nice blue? Blue, pink and blue, pink and blue. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I don't want to make a sharp V, and actually I don't think I need to have, this can be, I'm not using this anymore, so I'm going to make myself smaller, come over here, put this like this so we can concentrate on this now. I'm going to extend this out, I would say a little bit ahead. So this is my center front line. So if I just draw that, let me just draw that in so you can see it. This is my center front line. Okay, so you can see it's going to overlap to here. So somewhere up here, I'm going to give myself an extra, I don't know, let's do 3/8 of an inch right here. And then I'm going to use my French curve to make a nice curved shape here, like this. So it just gives it some subtle shaping, like this. And actually, I can use that shaping to also get it not to overlap so much. So maybe it'll be something like this. All right, so you can see that if I tape this together like this, so I'm actually going to tape this now. So I'm taping together the that right here. Okay. Now this is going to be a little funny. I'm going to have to try this. I might have to play with the shape a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and add a seam allowance right here so I can then cut this off. Because I'm going to line this or face this bodice. So let me just get this like this. You know, and this may end up being a little bit too high. I don't know. I just want to make sure it's not, you know, I don't want my cleavage to show a lot because then I worry. Whatever. So this, I don't need this anymore. So I'm literally going to cut this off like this. Okay. So now, what do I have? I have this funky looking piece. Okay, and if I were to, I could sew this together like this. So I could, you know, sew it together and create a cup shape here. Right, so I would have a seam there, but I don't think I want to have a seam there. So I'm going to have to play with this part right here. Can be distributed as gathers in the cup. Will you eventually hold the pattern up to you? The ditto form is wonderful, but it doesn't show skin cleavage. Well, I mean, I can. I don't know if it's going to tell us that much yet. Let me see. Let me take a sip of my tea. All right, I'm just going to measure. Let me just measure where this stops. Kind of like right here. I mean, let me just mark these all the way down. Hold on one second here. Because I want to make this one piece. I don't want to have a seam in the side bodice here. What did I do with my pink? So this is going to come down like this. Right? And this, let me just flip this up so I can mark my seam allowances here. Like this. Okay. Okay, so then if I put these back down, I can tell that my dart is really starting right here. Okay, so like if I tape these together all the way down to here where I put the dot, that's essentially where they start to split off to make this dart shape right here. So this is going to be, I'm going to ease this, I'm going to gather this to make soft gathers here. So Patrick asked me earlier about gathers at the bottom. This dart down here is going to become gathers because I'm not going to sew it. So we just need to know that the dart itself, just so we know, because the seam allowance is in here, is right here. So see, that's the dart right there to there. See? All right, so now let's try. All right, so if I put this on like this, I think you can see that it might be, I mean, just to give us an idea, I think that's going to be okay. I think it's going to hit me, well, once I have to drag this, has to come like this under my armpit like that. So about there, right there. You know, I want to make sure my sports bra doesn't show. So I think that's going to be okay. I mean, and again, I'm going to make it muslin to start out with, so we will see how that works out. But basically, that's the shape. And then the other thing is, I don't know. I think, let me just put some paper under here and fill this in, because I'm not going to sew that. That's going to, oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. All right, so see, I'm just going to put some paper right here, because I'm not going to sew that. And now I've got this really funky piece, and I think you can see why. Well, actually, let me get rid of this too. Oh, you know what? I was measuring, I have to add a seam allowance to this because I was using the edge of the dress. So let me just go ahead and give myself seam allowance here. So now this has got a seam allowance. Like this. All right, so now I can cut that off. Okay. All right, so I've got this funky piece now, and I'm just gonna sort of dash in connect these like that. So if I cut this off, and this, my question to me is, at this point, do I want to keep that divot? And I think what might help us now is if I take this dress off and put the cover on so you can see what I mean. Let me just put the, I'm going to take this off. This has got like a cotton lining, so it's sticking to the knit cover on Dottie here. So let me just, okay, let me unpin. Okay, and let me just get this. This is the one, I mean, if there's a downfall for working with a ditto form, the only downfall that I can think of, or downside, is that there are no collapsible shoulders. So you really gotta, you know, think about that when you're putting stuff on. Make sure you have enough of an opening to get it on and off without killing yourself. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my cover, let's put this dress over here. And let me switch my view here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, oops, I lost my line there a little bit, but that's all right. I can fix that. All right, I just want to put this back on to show you. What I'm showing you now is how that curved seam looks below the bust. I just want to show you that. So let me just put this back on. And again, it was poor planning on my part. This would be no big deal to put on if I had had a separating zipper. But the longest zipper I could find in my stash quick was this invisible one, so it's not separating. But then also, you can review the beginning of this video, and you can look at what's happening now, and you can see how closely these fit me. You know, this fits. Here. Okay. Okay. All right. So see, what I'm talking about is this curve right here. So it's got like a subtle curve, and that seam hits me right, it hits me right there. So this is a correct length where the dress wasn't vertically from here to my shoulder. So I think I do want to leave that actually. So let's go back and look at this. Okay, so I think this is going to be my shape. And I'm going to have to try it. But then the other thing I have to do, now that I have the front kind of decided, is I'm going to get my copies of my, where's my, the side, what did I do with my little back pieces now? I need back pieces, right? What did I do with them? Oh, here they are. Okay, so let's look at this now. So this, okay, has to connect with this. So if I connect it like this, you can see I cut off, you know, the amount I cut off Okay, I'm going to have to make that match. So it's going to be, and I don't know, that's not really agreeing with what I thought I cut off. So I'm going to have to go back and verify that. But basically, you know, this has to agree. And I like a full coverage on my, you know, near the back of my arm. So I'm not going to take a lot off there. But basically what I am going to do is I'm going to use this, which is still the full length of the shoulder. And I'm just going to mark right here. That's where I cut off the shoulder there. So maybe something like this. So there's my back armhole. Okay, and that corresponds to the width of the shoulder right here. If I cut that off, see, that will match. And I may have to make some change there. See how it kind of comes in as a V and goes back out? That's not super attractive, but also when I add this in here, let me just draw the seam allowances. Hold on. Let me put the seam allowance here. And let me put this seam allowance here. Because I don't want to have, I want the back to be open. So I'm not going to be using this paper up here, but I'm just going to tape it on so we can see. Let me just tape that together right there. Okay, and then the same thing, like I could calculate where the back waist start would be if I don't have a seam here. But I think what I want to do is I want this to be pretty open. And if you look at my back view here, I don't know, maybe it could come down halfway to my mid armhole. So like if we look, oh, Mary wants to know, does the band under the bust have any elastic in it? No, it does not, Mary, but guess where it does have elastic? And I don't know if and it's just going to depend if I want to do that or not, but you can see the back of the dress. I already took it off, so I'm not going to put it back on, but the back of the dress has a little elastic panel at the center back. So it's almost like it's shirred, like they sewed through the elastic to make it look like it's shirring. And then that's on either side of the strap in the back. The rest of it, there is no elastic. But I can say I could have my back be mid armhole, and that should cover my bra strap, which would be probably down here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure on my ditto form from the base of the armhole to my mid back. Let's say that's 5.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down over here 5.5 inches. And actually let me put my seam allowance in. And then I'm going to measure 5.5 inches down from there. And that's going to put us right here. And that, all right, so what I'm looking at is the overlap. Like I've got an inch, I think I've got an inch here, you know, for the two seam allowances. When I get down here, I don't. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm gonna make it go over there. So I'm gonna make two things. I'm gonna make two pivots right here. So I'm gonna make a pivot here and a pivot here. And then I'm gonna, I need this to be at an inch. Just to here, like this. because I want to get rid of the seam allowance, but I also, you know, I want to keep the shape. So see if I push this in, drop this in like this just a little bit. I'm just going to pull this in like that. All right, so see what I'm doing is I'm just pulling that in because that's where I want the bottom of my thing to go. And I'm going to have to true up this little doodad that I'm doing on my sleeve here. So let me just tape that. Okay, and because I'm doing a sleeveless, I'm not as concerned about what the armhole is doing, but I am going to make a nicer shape here. Okay, so there's a shape of my back armhole. So I can trim off, I'll make it a 1/2 inch. Like this. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my line. I'm sorry, that was my line. All right, let me just cut that. Okay, so there's my armhole with seam allowance, and I'm going to have it stop here. So my strap is going to come down. Like if I want it to be attached, it needs to make a nice shape. So let's have it do something like, oh, where's my front? I just want to make sure I'm using the right line here. Okay, so it's gonna need to be to here. Oops. Okay, so see how I'm making it a little bit nicer shape going front to back? I kind of made a little bit of a curve there so it doesn't look like a point. And then I'm going to continue that shape to here, I think, like this. So this is going to be the back, and then we're just going to go straight across like this. So I'm gonna, oh, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna do another pivot right here because I need all of this to overlap 1 inch. I'm basically getting rid of the seam between these two pieces. So down here, here's my inch. All right, there's my inch. So I just have to make sure that this just attaches like this. All right, I can trim a little bit off the side there. I'm just gonna have this do this, and then I'll fix it at the bottom like this. Well, I mean, I could do this. All right. All right, so I'm going to be testing all of this, and I'm going to show you what happened, but basically, this is going to be my, I can't get it to go all the way over, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so over here, I can't get it to do the full inch right here, so there's this much extra left still, so I'm going to trim it off over here. So basically I'm going to do this to get rid of what I can't get it to match there. So basically this will have, you know, a little piece of paper here to fill this in like this. You know, and we'll see how this works. I'm hoping that because I kind of shaped it, I got rid of the little bit of a dart down here. I might need a little dart down here. Like actually, maybe I'll leave this, and then where it doesn't match up might be the better idea. I can do a little dart, actually, because I probably will need some shaping, because I don't think I'm going to gather it in the back. So basically this could be my dart where it doesn't actually meet up here. So this will be a short waist dart, and then this is going to get cut off like this. So if we look at this now, that's half of the back of my dress, okay, with a square opening in the back, with a little bit of a dart here, like that. And then the amount that I couldn't close it will become the dart. And of course, I can play with the actual length of that dart, because I don't think it's exact, so I can play with that. But basically, that's what I'm going for the top. Now the skirt is going to be easy to draft. All I'll need for the skirt is to have, you know, the shaping for this part right here in the center front of the skirt piece. So I'll cut my lower center front piece on the fold like I did for the other one. So this one, I'll cut this on the fold as well, and then I'll have this shape to agree with this shape over here. Okay, and I know that my bodice is going to overlap this much. So I'm going to have about a 5 1/4 inch overlap back and forth. I think that'll be good. So that's going to be my plan for, you know, my first play with making a pattern for me using my ditto form. And then if I just show you here, there's one other thing I'm going to do. It's something called contouring. And what happens is when you cut a long line like this, right, and it's on the bias basically when you cut it out, this can gape away from you. So what I'm going to do here is, this is where approximately where my apex is, down in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to I'm going to cut straight through like this. I'm going to do a couple, like maybe 3. So one there, one here, and maybe one up a little bit higher, like this. Oops. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to overlap these pieces ever so slightly. And what that's called is contouring. I'm going to shorten this diagonal edge ever so slightly so it won't gape away from me when it's on my body. So I'm literally going to overlap each edge like a 1/4 inch. And that will hopefully keep the center front from gaping away. So that was the last thing I wanted to do with this. Let me just pull this one in. I don't need this extra paper. So I'm just going to overlap this one a 1/4. Like this. And I'm going to overlap this one a 1/4 over here too. Just a little bit, like that. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to keep that edge from gaping away from me, hopefully. Okay. All right, so I'm excited to try this. I hope you're following along with me. See, this is what I love to do. Like, if I could just sit around and do fitting and design new patterns all day long, I would be in complete heaven, because this is fun, fun, fun for me. Okay, so I'm just gonna close these up all the way. All right, so I'm gonna make a test muslin of this top, and I will show you how this works out. Maybe I'll add short skirt piece, you know, underneath. I could make this a top or a tunic with leggings, and then also I could make it a dress. So I could do a couple different things with it, which could be kind of cool. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make a top first, and that way I don't need to use, you know, a ton of fabric to test my first one. But basically, I do want to sew this up. And then let me just show you one other thing here. If I put, where's my back piece? Put this side by side. All right, so you can see there is my armhole right there. Okay, so armhole and center back. So that's my whole top of my dress with my little waist dart here. I don't think I'm going to do a gathered section like this dress has. So this is exciting. I hope you found this fun. I hope this was fun for you. It was really fun for me to share this with you. I wanted to share how my ditto form fit. My cover fit me versus my ditto form. I wanted to show you, you know, my first idea for designing something on there. And I figure since next weekend is Easter, I'm really motivated to make something and have it ready to go. So I'm really excited to try this, and I will keep you posted. It's going to have to be pretty close to being done by next Friday because Easter is on Sunday. So I'm going to be working on this. Super excited. If anybody has any questions or comments, please, post those below and I will help you. And I really want to just thank everyone for taking time to, join me, because I really look forward to doing this every week with you guys. I was devastated last Friday when I couldn't get my computer to work. So I'm glad that is fixed. And, basically, this was another fun Fab Fit Friday. I'm just going to move my camera up and out of the way. All right. So there you go. I think I am going to sign off. Oh, Patrick says, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for coming. And, just stay tuned because I will share pictures of how this is going. Oh, Tana says that was fun designing my favorite thing. I'm learning how, and it's a who. Thank you for inspiring us. Oh, you're so welcome. And I'm so excited that you like to design things too. I think that's just fun. And remember, you don't have to start with a draft. You can take a pattern that fits you and hack it into something else too. Essentially, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking this pattern and I'm hacking it into something else. So it's not like I'm drafting from scratch. It's sort of a shortcut if you have something to draft off of. I think that's Linda. Says, thanks, Jen. That was great. I would love to see more about the beautiful SL. Oh, you would love to see more about the beautiful sleeve you drafted. Oh, my sleeve. I'm really happy with the way that sleeve fit. Here it is. Let me just show it to you one more time. So I don't know if you saw, oh, Janie says, I really enjoyed watching you do that. Thank you. Always great to see a pattern build. Thank you, Carla. And Carla says, thanks. All right, so I'm just going to show this one more time. If you missed it, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. If you missed it, I drafted this from my, cover for my Dottie a few weeks ago. So, you might want to go back and watch how I drafted this because I used the armholes from the cover to draft the sleeve. So Linda, I don't know if you saw that, but I'll put a link to the video where I drafted this in the description when I get off so you can find it easily. All right, but that's what I ended up with, and that's what I was wearing. And you can see I did a bunch of work to it to get it to, after I drafted it, I fit it onto me. So I wanted to make sure I had enough width and enough cap height. And then I needed enough ease. Well, actually, the big issue was I needed enough ease to fit into my armhole. So that's why I had to fit it. But anyway, I will put a link to that. All right, so thank you guys so much, and have a lovely rest of your weekend. All right, I'm going to sign off. Bye. Okay, so let me go here.